Tom Segura, they always say Tom Segura has lost touch with reality, but now Mark Normand, his fingers are slipping by reality now, right? Just like Tom.
I'm like 20 years into comedy or whatever, and I still read a comment where somebody's like, is this supposed to be funny? And I'll just write, yes.
Yeah.
Like, well, that's why I posted it. I'm a comedian. It's getting laughs in the room. Like,
yeah.
It's supposed to be funny, but I'm like mad at this person. What's the trick?
I mean, I think it's just like, how do you think a person's life is going who spends time going, you suck?
Right.
Do you think it's somebody who has like a lot of shit going on?
Yeah.
And who's doing
And we remind Tom that he has done that.
So Tom had a Karen moment at an airport because he had to have his bag checked in at the gate. And then he went to Twitter and just started going off on the person who made him check it in. And some people in the comments were telling him he was being a little dramatic. So then he started going off on poor people. I mean, this was wild. This dude's ego is out of control.
Well,
good point.
Welcome back to another episode of Comedians Coping with Criticism. This time we've got Tom Segura counseling Mark Normand on how to block out the haters by becoming completely emotionless and learning how to externalize the blame. This episode would have been so much better if Bert was here. First Protect Our Parks replaced Sober October, and now Mark Normand has
this guy that's the narrator of this video, he's in too deep with the lore. So deep enough where I feel pity for him.
Replaced Bert Kreischer on Two Bears, One Cave. And you know Bert's watching this right now to catch up on what happened while he was away. He skips through all the boring bits called conversation and goes straight to the parts where they're talking about him.
That to me was always the mark of lunacy with that guy.
Yeah. And you're like, go see your children. you have never talked about your daughters this way, Bert.
Stick around until the end of this video, Bert. I've got you covered, buddy. Shitting on you has become mandatory for guests on Two Bears, and we're all here for it. But it was only a couple of weeks ago that Big J Okerson was on the We Might Be Drunk podcast with Mark and Sam, where he brought up this very channel, saying how he watches it, just like Bert does, to keep up with everything happening in the podcast world. Mark...
It's a simplified version, 2 hour, whatever, how long it might be.
Mark and Sam weren't convinced though. Sam tried to shut it down, even though his producer admitted to his face that he watches my videos, and Mark made the comment that we all don't realize how sensitive comedians are. So it looks like Mark is starting to suffer from the same fate as his comedy podcasting buddies, who can't seem to cope with even the slightest criticism of their work. And I've always been a fan of Mark Normand. I think he's one of the few Rogan comedians who still understands the idea of a comedy podcast. His work on Protect Our Parks in trolling Rogan is pretty much unmatched at this point. The sad thing is, though, now that he's made it big through multiple JRE appearances, he's starting to sound just like the rest of them.
You know, we get so busy. You know, you got kids, you got the career, you got a TV show.
The way now that you put it out is now you gave podcast Cringe a way for you to be the subject.
Show, you're all over the place. So, like, now to hang out with your friends, you almost have to monetize it.
I know.
You have to make it like a podcast.
But do you have to? Oh, all up to you, buddy.
Just to, like, get some hang time.
That's 100%. Like if I'm home and someone's like, "Hey, let's just hang out," I'm like, "I can't hang out, dude.
I can't hang out.
Yeah, I just got home." Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. My wife's like, well, "You never come home," and I'm like, "We should do a pod."
Yeah,
that's what you did.
That's what I did. That's right.
Smart. So you get to see your wife.
Actually, no joke. That is sometimes like the most time we'll spend together in a week. And you leave and you're like, "We got 20 things to do."
It's sad but true.
Yeah.
But at least you can monetize it. So now you're getting paid to hang out with your wife, which, you know, that's how it should be.
That's how it should be.
God damn it.
God damn, lady. Did you see...
Is it me or, like, look at this face. Like, is it me or, like, maybe Mark Normand is having sort of the withdrawals of getting married and now having a wife, you know, being different, you know, when he was, you know, in comparison to when he was single. And now, you know, he's like, damn, bro, I thought this woman was gonna be my best friend. Like, I don't know.
That's some of the saddest shit I've ever heard come out of Mark's mouth. Imagine not being able to hang out with your buddies unless you're making money. Like, how much fucking money do these guys need? They act as if every minute of their lives has to be accounted for, like they're billing their wives in 6-minute increments like a lawyer. I remember when Whitney Cummings brought this up on Flagrant a couple of years ago and got completely shut down by Andy and the Toy Story boys.
We're in a very high risk profession.
Yeah.
And it used to be, I think the way that we stayed sane was having offline conversations in the, in the green room, in the hallway. And now it's like, save it for the pod. Like
She lost the plot. She lost the plot. Like when you start thinking that way of your life, hey, like let's not just broadcast this. Okay, can we just do that and just, have a friendly conversation with no cameras around and like be ourselves, right?
monetizing all of our conversations like for public consumption, which is great. It's healing a lot of people. People love it. Can I finish before you roll your eyes?
All right, fine.
Can I finish before you roll your eyes?
That makes so much sense. Think about all the times you've heard Bert tell Tom or Andrew Schultz tell Joe Rogan something on a podcast and they had absolutely no idea about it. I always think to myself, how the fuck don't you know that about one of your best friends? And it's usually something fairly important. It's like they rock up to the studio and literally press record as soon as they get there. I mean, Joe Rogan still hasn't even seen Andrew Schultz's latest comedy special.
They always say, "Save this for the pod. Don't tell me nothing."
My favorite form of entertainment by far is stand-up comedy. Like straight up, I'm a fanboy of comedians. Andrew Schultz, Life, did you watch his?
I haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen it?
No.
So how do you take infertility, right? And just, it's not really a very funny subject and make it incredible.
Bro brought his knee pads to JRE and left with Rogan's PIN number, but it just goes to show how fake the world of comedy podcasting is. They all claim to be super tight and hang out all the time, but the reality is they have to justify everything in financial terms. Do you think all of the assassins who hang out in the mothership green room at Rogan's club would be there if they weren't getting paid? These are the guys who supposedly turned their backs on Hollywood to do their own thing, only to recreate Hollywood's toxic ecosystem in Austin, where everything's a transaction. The worst part for me is how stupid they...
But look, I think that's a little too far-fetched. I think not even like Hollywood stars are monetizing everything they do. That's just the internet, like the stand-up comedians or the comics, right?
I think we all are. That's always been a gripe of mine, whether it's Rogan calling anyone who criticizes him a mentally ill loser who works at 7-Eleven or Subway, or when Tom Segura went full scorched earth when some of his fans told him that nobody gives a fuck about his luxury watch and supercar collections. According to these guys, if you don't find everything they say funny, it's all your fault.
And I'm like 20 years into comedy or whatever, and I still read a comment where somebody's like, "Is this supposed to be funny?" And I'll just write, "Yes."
Yeah.
Like, well, that's why I posted it. I'm a comedian.
Okay, this might be just Mark just trauma dump, right?
It's getting laughs in the room. Like,
Yeah.
it's supposed to be funny, but I'm like mad at this person.
I think I did for a long time too.
Yeah.
And then it's also so much more pleasant not to engage.
I know.
Like don't get worked up.
Yeah.
You just see it and you just kind of go,
But you saw the consequences when he tried to do that.
oh, it's whatever.
What's the trick?
I mean, I think it's just like you're getting to a point where once you do stand up long enough, not everyone's ever going to like you.
Yeah.
Ever.
Sure.
Like not everyone likes whoever you want. Chris Rock,
Right.
Seinfeld.
That's true.
Like there's people who go like, I hate this person. I hate what they're saying. They're not funny.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, if like the top of the food chain gets that, the rest of us have to get it too.
Yeah.
And like, I'm going, are those guys engaging with people who
No.
go? No, of course not. So I just go, I'll post the thing. And if someone doesn't like it, I just go, yeah, cool. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, Neil Brennan had that great joke where he said, if you look at Beethoven's Fifth Symphony or whatever the famous one is, the first comment is gay. And you're like, well, there you go. It's like this beautiful piece of music that's
Yeah.
lasted for centuries. And
Yeah.
we're like,
This is gay.
Exactly. So that's all you need to know, folks.
I went
And these comedians, they live comedy, right? So it's a mind games for them. Comedy is always in their mind, and it's always gonna be something that will get them sort of emotional. It could be anything. Like how Mark Norman right now, he's not usually like this sort of touchy with things. Like he's laying down some things, some deep thoughts that he had about being judged and how his comedy is perceived, but pretty sure it happens to everybody else.
and looked up that bit from Neil Brennan. He doesn't actually say the top comment was gay. He said that there was a Beethoven Fifth Symphony video on YouTube with 10,000 dislikes. And his point was that dislikes don't mean much anymore because Beethoven's Fifth is one of the greatest pieces of music in history. It was a bit from a stand-up show. He wasn't actually comparing comedians to Beethoven like Mark just did. The cope from these guys is just next level, and I actually thought Tom had a pretty fair perspective when he was saying that once you reach a big enough critical mass, not everyone's going to like you, so you just have to deal with it. But then, as
That's exactly what I said. Like right now, Mark, yeah, he is coping in a in a more devastating way to say it. He's trying to like understand and maybe figure out a way to stop thinking the way he thinks.
usual, Tom told us what he's really thinking.
And also, this is the other one. How do you think a person's life is going who spends time going, you suck?
Right.
Do you think it's somebody who has like a lot of shit going on
Yeah.
and who's doing well?
Good point.
I mean, like,
It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
The funny thing is, wherever Tom goes on the internet, whether it's a video with a watch dealer reviewing his collection, or he's driving a new supercar around London, even just a clip from his comedy specials, there's always a ton of comments basically saying, you suck. I mean, have you guys seen pretty much anything Bert Kreischer posts anywhere, or when Rogan posts anything comedy related on Instagram and Twitter, 90% of the comment sections are just roasting them because they suck. But of course, it's because we're all mentally ill losers with nothing going on in our lives. It couldn't possibly
Like, hey, dude, what do they say? Like about throwing rocks at glass houses, right?
be because ever since Tom got rich and got a gym membership, he became a massive douchebag. Speaking of douchebags, Bert, I didn't forget about you, buddy. Once Tom and Mark got onto the topic of how much comedy has changed since they started, it didn't take long for your name to come up.
yeah, we had when I was starting, thank God, there was no reference for like, get this clip up and going.
I know.
We didn't have any of that. It was really, I got so in on the club system. And when I had seen, like, I worked with some people that sold out a weekend.
Yes.
I was like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. They're getting too distracted.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's a blessing and a curse because you have the internet. You can just put it all out there. You can expose yourself, get a ton of fans, but also anonymity is a gift. Get good in the shadows first,
Totally.
but they want it too quick. It's
Oh, that's like podcast Cringe. You don't even know who this guy is. It could be an AI, you know. Oh, I'm a great guy. I just like he sounds British, but listen to dumbest freaking podcast, the dumbest American podcast. One of the dumbest, not the greatest. No, it's not taking number one, but it could be. It's in the top 10, maybe top 15. Who knows?
sad. It's
Yeah.
depressing, but I think it's just the way it is now.
Yeah. That is really crazy. Oh my God. Can you imagine how much Bert would have posted?
Oh God, I know. Jeez, that would be scary.
You've toured with him.
Many times.
I'm assuming you've had long nights with him, right?
Oh my God, so many nights in Europe
Hey, yo. That's on the
were wild. We went to a strip club in Copenhagen, I think, called the Waterloo, and he's getting a lap dance FaceTiming Leanne. And you're like, this is crazy. I mean, he came to my bachelor party. That was insane. He'll be like, after party at this bar. And I'm like, we're going somewhere else, right? And he's like, no, we're going there.
That to me was always the mark of lunacy with that guy. Was when he started to really sell tickets, and then I'd see a video and I was like, what's going on in that bar? He's like, oh, at the end of my show, I told everyone, let's go to this bar. I'm like, you told the show
Yes.
to go to the bar.
That's insane.
It's insane.
And you're like, go see your children. you have never talked about your daughters this way, Bert.
I just was like, I go, to me, I'm like, everything is just based on being tired. I'm like, aren't you just tired? And he's like, no.
He isn't. That's
No.
why he has to tour with younger people.
Yeah.
Because they can keep up with him. It's crazy.
It's insane.
It's going to be sad when he's gone.
I'm the machine. Bert Chrysler.
How soon? What's your bet?
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to spill the tea here, but every time I've been to his house, I can't help but notice the amount of pill bottles next to his bed. It's like 38 of those orange pill bottles, and you're like, is all that for your liver? What is that? Norm Macdonald's out, but Bert's still cruising.
Bert's journey to an inevitable premature death
Dude, look at that picture. That's majestic.
is going to be one of the most well-documented downfalls in history. Every single person
Oh
who
my God. Ooh, man. You're the one that's trying to narrate this downfall. Bert, do you eat choke slamming people, and he's still saying he still looks terrible. Like podcast Cringe can never give this guy a break. Like man, like every time I see this dude like talk about Bert, it's like Bert does so appeared. Bert does a movie. Bert does this and Bert does that, and then he's just like, yeah, this is for sure his downfall. I'm like, what the? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think.
Who meets him says the exact same thing. How is it possible that this guy is still alive? If overextending your welcome was a person, it would be Bert Kreischer. And just like Joe Rogan and Tom Segura, Bert figured out early on in his career that if you get everyone you know on your payroll, you'll have friends for life. These guys are like the Italian mafia, where all the made men send a cut of their earnings up the chain, and in return they have their security and welfare guaranteed by the family. You earn your stripes at the mothership, kiss the ring on JRE, then pay your dues on Kill Tony. Anyway, make sure you subscribe to this channel so you...
This shit right in the end, like how it crazy. It's like, yeah, these are the mafia bosses. What are you talking about? Did he give him props there in the end? Is that like a positive note in the? Yeah, you know, Bert Kreischer might be falling down soon, but right now they're the most strongest players in the Rogan sphere. I don't know. Like and subscribe. See you guys for another one.